Hello, I'm Steve Hemmon. I'm the interim superintendent for Narragansett Regional School District. As you might know, the town of Templeton is proposing to build a new elementary school replacing the current Templeton Center and Baldwinville schools. The site of the new school is the Templeton Center, which is being built to house 580 students, pre-K to 5. In order for residents to have a clear understanding of the proposed school, we are answering the questions that citizens have asked at many community meetings. With us is Joe Seeley from SMMA, our architects, and John Winokur, our owner's project manager from College International. The first question I'd like to ask is to Joel. Why was the new school chosen instead of renovations to the existing elementary schools?
Well, renovation really wasn't a viable option. Due to the significant age of the building and the undersized spaces and frankly the quantity of spaces, there was no viable way to simply renovate the buildings and make them an MSBA required facility. The MSBA wouldn't reimburse on a renovation only project. They did, however, require us during the study phase to investigate a renovations and additions option at the center school site. That option proved to be unviable as well, namely because the construction cost was just about the same as a new building project. But what really tipped the scales was the location of the existing building and the size of the building addition really made that an inefficient site layout, and we had far less parking, far less fields, and far less play structure area for the children. And so the building committee ruled that out as a viable option. But let's spend a little bit of time talking about the specifics of the two existing schools. The center school is 74 years old. It has provided great value to the community over its lifetime, but it is an aged facility. It's a wood structure with no fire protection, and every single space in the building is undersized as against MSBA regulations. There's significant handicap accessibility or ADA issues throughout the building, as well as life safety and means of egress issues. The teaching spaces within the building are undersized and inadequate. There's also a significant amount of spaces within the facility for teaching and teacher prep that are just not appropriate or undersized for today's standards. The cafeteria is a multi-use space that's very small. It's used for art, health, and music, but it also has adjoining speech therapy classes that just can't be used to their right function because of the noise levels. It really doesn't have a true gymnasium. It's a former classroom space that is very undersized, and the school doesn't have a library. The administration and nurses suite are also undersized in the existing building, and the heating and ventilation and plumbing and electrical systems are very, very antiquated. Baldwinville is very similar to Center, except it's older. It's 90 years old, again served the town extremely well in its lifetime, starting off as a high school and ultimately ending up its life as an elementary school. It's been a great asset for the town, but it's just very aged, wood structure, no fire protection, and every single space in the building is undersized by MSBA standards. Like Center, it suffers from the same handicap accessibility and life safety issues that are throughout the existing building. The teaching spaces and classrooms are undersized. They're really inappropriate in some instances with a lot of overhead pipes in the way. And some of the spaces, simply just to get to them, we all know the infamous tunnel down in the basement to get to the far two classrooms. A very, very narrow corridor that just doesn't meet life safety and egress requirements. The gymnasium, while it has served the school well, it is undersized, but it's also multi-use. And the kitchen is very, very undersized and really doesn't meet today's codes. And like Center, its antiquated heating and electrical and plumbing systems are just too far aged for any meaningful renovations or repairs. So in summary, today's students must travel between 4 different schools. And for pre-K in Phillipston, Center for K-1, and Baldwinville for grades 3 and 4. Then they also need to go to the middle school for grades 5. The new facility will have all of those grades, all of those students in one building. Today, the principal needs to travel between buildings. With the new school, the principal will be located at one location. And the same goes with your specialist teachers, your art, music. Those teachers have to travel between multiple schools, and they will be housed in one building. So it really, to answer your question, Steve, the renovations and additions really weren't a viable option for this project.
Joel, one of the things, Baldwinville is grades 2, 3, 4, just a correction like that. The other thing, would you, you mentioned MSBA, and I think people maybe not know what MSBA is, so could you just a little bit what MSBA stands for?
Sure. The MSBA is the Massachusetts School Building Authority. They're the agency, the state agency that oversees all school construction across the Commonwealth. They're also your funding partner. They'll contribute a significant amount of reimbursement to any school project that's approved at the local level as well as at the state level.
Joel, I want to thank you for that information. What I'd like to tell our residents is that we have a flyer on the facts sheet it gives a lot of information about the new school and the information on the tax rate and so forth. If you would like one, you can call 978-939-5661. I'll say that again. Our central office, 978-939-5661, and we'd be glad to mail you one. Also, you can go on our website, nrsd.org, and when you're on the website, you'll see on the left-hand side it says new school. You can hit that, and there'll be information there about the new school. So I want to thank you, and we will be providing information as we go along in this process.